Yes, those of you who are participating in the evaluation on this, I will give you I have given this session many times, but I am going to give this from the perspective of the judges. How the judges are going to look at your evaluation. If you understand that, you can evaluate better. Because generally we evaluate the way we understand. Let's maybe you will collect data, but present it in the way the judges will sequentially assess you. The judges are going to assess you on four major qualities. One is the analytical quality of your evaluation, which means how clear and focused you are in analyzing the speaker's speech basically, and what recommendations you are going to give. Number two, what recommendations you are going to give, whether it is specific or general. Many times if you are not very specific with your recommendation, speaker will not be able to take home. So how specific you are going to be, and what sort of technique you are using. Sometimes you will be very sympathetic. The speaker is a very good guy, but still you see eye contact cannot be established. It's very sharp. Whether it is sympathetic that way, or you are going to be very sensitive to speaker's topic, or you are going to really motivate and inspire the speaker. Right? And finally the summation. How do you summarize finally? These are the four qualities they are going to look at in your speech. So how do I go about doing this? Right? So how do I jot down my evaluation? When I do an evaluation, what do I do? I am going to place what I am going to do. When you do an evaluation, when you are going to give your feedback, you ensure that you have facts in front of you, especially when you are going to do some recommendations. Your speech was very generic, if your speech was not structured well, so you have to work on your structure, so the speaker doesn't get any feedback on that. If you are going to speak on structure or organization of the speech, clearly tell each part of the organization of the speech is like, whether the opening was not very catchy or attention catching or powerful, whether the transition from opening to body was not clear, or the in-between points in the body was not the transition between these points were not good, or whether the transition from the body of the speech to conclusion was not good, whether the conclusion didn't summarize the entire speech, or what was that was lacking in the structure. This is one way of looking at a structure sequentially. The second aspect is, if the speaker is making a point and he is not able to explain that point very clearly to you, everything is pertaining to you, please understand. You are not representing the audience, you are representing only yourself. So any clarity, don't think maybe Ramesh will understand this better, so whether I can say this or not, don't ever get it. If you don't understand, you don't understand. You are part and parcel of the audience, you are 1% of the audience, you should understand. If I am not understanding, I am not understanding. So how do I need to convey this to the speaker? When you made this point, you said this as an example, and it was not exactly mapping with the insight you are trying to bring in. So I would expect you to, if you had said this like this, then I will be in a position to understand. You can make a suggestion. So please quote that insight which the speaker has said and what you could have done better to make that. Because as you do it, there will be a part of judges who have gone through the same experience like you. They would have pinpointed, but they will feel something is missing. So if, as long as you connect the missing link or make the thing fall in the slot for the judges, you get a point. Right? So structure can be in terms of opening body conclusion or transition, summarizing the conclusion, or emphasizing a point with a very clear anecdote or an example. If it doesn't do, these are all part of your structure. Right? Second, as soon as you hear the speech, make up your mind. The speech can fall only in four categories, as you are all aware. Either it can be speaking to inform, or entertaining the audience, or inspiring the audience, or persuading the audience. Just see which is the predominant theme which the speaker has chosen to speak to. Sometimes he may look like entertaining you, but he is actually informing. He may have a lot of funny one-liners, but he will talk about only facts and informing you about how to control diabetes. His entire speech will be based on how to control diabetes or what is diabetes. But he will talk about some funny one-liners which will be entertaining, but it is not entertaining speech. He is only trying to inform. So clearly defined. So when you analyze your speech, identify which of these four the speaker has chosen today. Having chosen it, How did he go about structuring the speech, and where he found the gaps in the structure of the speech. This is in terms of speech per se. The second part of your analysis comes in the delivery. How the speaker is delivering what he wants to say. Then you go into all your basic communication manual attributes, whether he was sincere and honest in what he want to say, whether he presented himself as an authority on the topic he wanted to speak, right? Whether he had the right body language gestures to share what he wanted to say, whether he had the right vocal variety to share what he wants to say. At times you will feel when he is speaking, a faster pace would have been better, and the speaker will be careful. So the importance of that punch, that the powerful statement will be missing if he makes it casual. So whether vocal variety, in vocal variety, which was that you want to do? Which aspect of vocal variety you found the speaker is lacking, right? So you have to note it down. That data should be there. When you set this statement, the final words of your statement died down. I could not even hear what you know. So maybe had your voice been a little louder, it would have made you more enlightened about what you want to say. So have a very, very clear way of picking up a data and sharing it. So all the basic communication attributes, list it one by one. Then against what he was doing better, against what he was lacking. One way to do is to have a make a small table in your, as soon as you start your evaluation. I just used to make a 4 blocks in my paper so that it's easy. At least initially do that. Over a period of time it will be part of your memory. How much space you allocate, you will get to know as you go about it. So first is your structure, because the first part of your speech is for, as I told you, analytical quality, which means structure, organization, content, all those things you have to distinguish. Whichever you feel is very powerful, whichever you feel is the area of improvement. Right? Second. Your second block will be more of delivery related. Right? So what was the positive aspects of his delivery and what was the area of improvement. In this you can as well list out if you want in advance. Anyway, since you know you won't have a problem. If you want a clue, you can put one as eye contact, you can write out vocal variety, body language, you can write what you want, working with words, right? You can write anything you want. So that it's a clue for you to pick up what you want to say. At the end of the day you may miss something. The third is all this, this is what you are going to note down as part of your take-home. Here you can have your ODC, transition. Then logical flow of content you can also do. When somebody presents a speech, how logical it is for you. Sometimes you feel a disconnect because it is not logical. Sometimes you feel it is not built in a logical way. So you have a disconnect, or you go back and forth. When somebody makes a speech which comprises of his past and the present, he will start with the present, then he will go into past, once again come back to present, then he will go into past. You won't know which he is talking about. When I was, so the grammar will go for a toss, past and present tense will go for a toss. Which I he was talking about, you won't know. Whether his father was young at that time or old at that time, you won't know. You have a lot of confusion. Right? So it's better to look at how logically he has built his speech. Maybe we can put some. And this take-home will be, please, at the end of the speech, sit for a moment, close your eyes and understand what can be the take-home value for me in this speech. It may be how not to give the speech also. Right? But I am saying, see what is the take-home value from the speech, and please note it. Every speech will have its take-home value. You give any speech, I can pick up some take-home value from it. Any interaction, any experience leaves you with a net thing which is learning. As long as you look for learning, you look for positive things in somebody's speech. So this you have to list out. Now the fourth block is what you actually write post all the journeys. That is essentially a summary of the speech. How are you going to summarize his speech? Right? You have to summarize your evaluation, right? So this summarization is very important. So you talk about essentially the salutation and whatever it is. Don't miss any of these things. Second is congratulating the speaker. Don't do it in a customary fashion. I congratulate you for completing a wonderful speech. You are such a bold man. 10 people are evaluating you. You have been very brave. All those things, forget. A lot of people will say the same thing. If you can somewhere pick up the take-home value, link it to the speech. Listening to you today is such a wonderful experience because I am going home with a wonderful take-home value. I think I need to congratulate you for doing that. So that elevates the speaker. Yes, I have done something positive. Let's see how you have shared that value to me, or how I could assimilate that value from your speech. Then you go into your structure, right? So this is where this aspect is uniquely presenting is where you get your experience as a Toastmaster. Right? Everybody generally will have some structure and say, congratulations, very good. And coming to the structure, they will have a very structured way of saying. You should not say in a very bland and very common way of saying the introduction and other things. Make it very nicely so that it is also your speech, please understand. While you are evaluating somebody's speech, when you are delivering it, it's your speech. So they are going to assess how you are delivering.
Can I ask, do they expect you to read out your evaluation or to actually give it without reading?
There is no hard and fast rule. I always carry the piece of paper with me, what I write.
Okay.
Even they ask you to write after the speech is over. They give you 5 minutes to write it. Then you hand it over back to the Sadhana and he comes and reads. Right? So you've given the paper and you're going back to evaluate. The idea is, if I merely say your speech was atrocious, the speaker doesn't know why it was atrocious. You didn't have some facts backing them.
Yeah.
So you would have noted down something. You may not remember all the points at that point of time.
Okay, but predominantly, like if you write out the whole thing and then you read it out, that's not.
That is also fine. If you can write out like Ram Gopal writes his evaluation. Anytime you see his evaluation, you would have written the complete evaluation as a speech and you would read it and read it.
But does that affect how they judge you?
So at the end of the day, it's a delivery as I told you. While I say they may not judge you, they can also judge you because how confident I am as an authority when I am evaluating also reflects how much I refer a school. Right? I need to make some important point for you. Say the particular word which you use, and let me correct. Right? This is such a wonderful word. How many of you have heard this? Very few people use this word. I have heard this in my 10th standard English book when I read the James Thurber essay. Something if I say, it recollects a lot of things. At that time I can look at the paper. Nobody is going to say. On the contrary, I look at it and don't even look at the evaluation is for the paper or for you. I need to look at you and the audience, right? So I need to also, so it's a reference, it's a prompt basically, so that I don't miss vital points. At the same time, no point reading. Nobody is going to cut off mark, but somebody will get more mark if he delivers in life. Right? Delivery is your speech at the end of the day. And third is your analysis of your content. This comes first. Because the judges are going to look at your analytical ability. So you start with which of the 4 years chosen, how you went about developing it, what are the things you saw, what are the strength in that. Only talk about strength. Don't do anything. Only talk about this. Your first summary. That is 3A. Your 3B can be your positives in the delivery. Right? These two, if you say, you would have essentially covered all the major positive and strong aspects of the speech, both in terms of content and delivery. Now you have to come for your recommendation. Recommendation, you have to pick up all these things. Look at the timer. You have got 3.5 minutes, right? Your first minute, you keep some 15-20 seconds for your initial statements. Keep the next 45 minutes to 1 minute, 45 seconds to 1 minute for your analysis of your content. Next 1 minute for your, areas of improvement, challenge areas. And the last 1 minute to 1.5 minutes, essentially to summarize your speech in a way it makes the audience to remember your evaluation. Right? You can coin an acronym for the entire speech, what you want to say if you want, and share it. The acronym can be the entire speech also. But many times it becomes a fairly used technique, so you don't do this. Maybe you can summarize here what you want to say as take-home value and close it on a high note. When you leave on a high note, the judges also feel happy, and that's what it's going to be. Thank you.